Hi, it's Gail Mercer-MacKay here, founder of Mercer-MacKay Digital Storytelling and the Six-Figure Freelance Writer. And this week in my video, I want to talk to you about developing good habits, especially some good sales habits. For those of you who are growing a business or trying to start a business or want to grow a business, and you want to do some things that are going to make you successful in terms of attracting and retaining clients. So, an email came across my mailbox this morning from a gentleman named James Clear, jamesclear.com, and he's a guy who writes on some interesting topics, and I subscribe to his newsletter because I really enjoy what he has to say. And in the newsletter today, he talked about a story about a young man who was hired right out of university to work at a very small bank in the financial services group in a really small rural area, and nobody really expected much out of him. He wasn't given a lot of training. He was just told to go and start selling the bank's financial services products. Well, within a couple of years, he was the top seller in the province, and within a couple of years after that, he was recruited away to a really high-end financial services firm because he had a multi-million-dollar portfolio of clients. So when James was interviewing him, he asked him, he said, "How did you do this? How did you achieve this so quickly with very little training and not a lot of structure in place to really support you?" And he said, "Well," he said, "I followed the 120 paperclip rule." And James asked him, "What was that?" And he said, "Every morning when I came to work, I had 2 jars and I had 120 paper clips, and I put them in one jar. And I would start to phone. And every time I made a call, I reached out to call a potential client, I would take one paper clip and I would move it from one jar into the other. And I never stopped calling until I had moved all 120 paper clips." And so that was his success, because sales, as we know, is a numbers game. You have to do some kind of a repetitive motion to connect and to make things happen. It's always a numbers game. And the other thing that was interesting about this story is that this particular young man had visual cues. He had given himself visual cues to show what he was doing, how he was making progress, and to really measure when he was done. Because I think a lot of times having visual cues really helps us. I know with me, I like to have a list and I check off the list as I do things, or sometimes I put stickers on things, but there's different things that I will do as visual cues. So the important point here is not necessarily that the 120 paperclip rule is going to work for you, but it is that we need to set goals and we need to have specific targets and then not get distracted by them. You know, one of the things this young man said to James is, he said, "I didn't go online, I wasn't always looking at Bing or Google or things that were popping up or going to social media sites. I was very focused on the fact that I believed I needed to make 120 calls every day if I wanted to be successful." And when I talk to the writers that are in our community, and when I talk to other people who ask me about how to be successful in sales, I always say, you have to spend at least 1/3 of your day focused on sales activities. And I don't know what those are going to be for you, but you need to spend 1/3 of your day every day. Even when you're wildly successful, even when you achieve all the goals that you want, you still have to continue to sell. You need to spend, for me, it's 1/3 of my day on doing that. So I want you to think about this. Think about what is something that you really want to accomplish. And it might not be sales. It might be something else. It might be getting more physically fit. It might be learning to play a musical instrument. There could be something. So what are the things that you need to do every day to make that happen, to move towards that goal? And how can you set up a visual reminder for yourself to know that you're going to get there? So that's the thought I'm going to leave you with this week. I'd be interested in your thoughts. Feel free to share this video if you liked it, or put a like on Facebook. Let me know, give me feedback if there's something else you'd like me to talk about. And until next week, believe, be brave, and go right. I'm Gail Mercer-MacKay, and thanks for listening.